I noticed when you're asking about Caitlin a lot, you bring up other rookies as well.
No league's ever about one player. That player could get hurt or whatever. So I think it's just to give recognition that in sports, people watch for compelling content and rivalries. And you can't do that alone as one person.
This isn't just another story from the world of sports. It's a wake-up call, a sharp reminder how arrogance, reckless leadership, and one catastrophic mistake can destroy an entire empire before it ever has a chance to truly rise.
Never seen a company fumble the bag so hard like the WNBA fumbled Caitlin Clark. It sucks that so much of it was riddled with so much drama and so much negativity.
The WNBA once held the golden ticket, a once-in-a-generation star who wasn't just dominant on the court, but magnetic far beyond it. Caitlin Clark wasn't simply scoring points. She was shifting culture. She was a brand, a phenomenon, a spark that pulled millions of new fans into women's basketball almost overnight. For a league that spent nearly 30 years fighting to be seen, this was supposed to be its breakthrough, the moment everything finally clicked. But instead of celebrating her as the force who could redefine their future, the WNBA treated her like she was replaceable. And in doing so, they made a mistake so colossal, it could haunt the league for decades. What began as a fairy tale of hope and revival has spiraled into open warfare, and Clark's revenge isn't loud or emotional. It's strategic. She's exposing the league's failures in the one arena where power truly counts, the boardroom. And she's not alone. Rival leagues, billionaire investors, and celebrities outside of sports have already seen what the WNBA refuses to acknowledge. Caitlin Clark is bigger than the league itself. So how did it all fall apart? How did the WNBA mishandle the most electrifying athlete in years so badly that her story became one of betrayal instead of triumph? Stay with me, because once you see the numbers, the disrespect, and the outside offers flooding her way, you'll understand this wasn't poor management. It was malpractice, the kind that reshapes history. When Clark exploded onto the national stage, it didn't feel like a top draft pick entering the league. It felt like a cultural reset. From college dominance to viral highlights, she wasn't just rewriting record books. She was rewriting what women's sports could mean in America. Every game became a spectacle. Ratings soared. Kids on playgrounds started pulling up from half court, trying to be her. She had become a symbol of possibility. By draft night, her story was legend. This wasn't another rookie. It was a coronation. Lightning in a bottle. One player powerful enough to drag an entire league into relevance. And at first, it worked. Indiana Fever tickets disappeared in hours. Prices skyrocketed. Arenas packed out with fans, many watching women's basketball for the first time just to see her play. Clark was instant box office. Ratings shattered records, merchandise sold out, and for the first time in years, casual fans care about the WNBA again. She had achieved what decades of slogans, rebrands, and PR campaigns couldn't. She made the league matter. It should have been the dawn of a new golden era. But instead, what looked like a dream from the outside turned rotten on the inside. Because while Caitlin Clark gave the WNBA everything it had ever wanted, the league responded with the one thing she didn't deserve: disrespect.
Here in the W, we pride ourselves on having a super welcoming,
don't get stoned,
calm, low-stakes environment.
Boston will hoist.
She hit it!
Where communication is highly valued.
Well, it's getting chippy.
Collaboration is always encouraged.
Oh, what a pick!
We are devoted to working extra hard. We've been delivering astounding results since 1997.
Back to back.
Because this is a place where basketball matters.
Beautiful pass and a good catch and finish. Big time!
And if you love
Enrique!
real
Thomas with the spin move.
basketball,
Unforgettable finish!
welcome to the W.
Let's talk facts, because the numbers don't lie, and they expose a betrayal in plain sight. Caitlin Clark didn't just boost attendance for the Indiana Fever. She shattered history. By season's end, over 200,000 fans had walked through the gates. That's not an uptick. That's a revolution. No team in league history had ever drawn that kind of crowd. And it didn't stop there. National TV ratings jumped by 21%. For a league that had spent decades begging for attention, this wasn't just progress. It was survival. Clark became a one-woman economy. Every time she laced up, ticket sales spiked, arenas overflowed, jerseys sold out, and viewership soared. She wasn't just another player. She was a heartbeat keeping the entire WNBA alive. And she was still only a rookie, barely tapping into her full potential. Now, think about that. For nearly 30 years, the WNBA had tried everything. New logos, new slogans, marketing overhauls, celebrity tie-ins. Nothing stuck. Then Caitlin Clark arrived, and in one season, she did what 3 decades of strategy couldn't. She turned the impossible into reality. She was the difference between a league gasping for relevance and one finally thriving. But instead of honoring her as a cornerstone she clearly was, the league insulted her in the worst way imaginable on paper. Her rookie deal? For years, $338,000 total. That's about $85,000 a year. Less than what some office managers make. Less than assistant coaches in men's programs. And this was a salary for the one woman carrying an entire league on her shoulders. Then comes a gut punch. Across the hallway, the NBA's #1 draft pick signs for roughly $55 million over 4 years. That's not a typo. $55 million versus $338,000. A gap. So wide it's not just financial, it's philosophical. Clark wasn't just underpaid. She was undervalued by a factor of 162 times. That's not inequality. That's a message. A statement that screamed, we don't see her worth. And when that message went public, it didn't just hurt the brand, it poisoned the culture. Because when a league disrespects its own star, it gives everyone else permission to do the same. Opponents took note. The refs took note. And soon, that disrespect didn't just live on paper. It came to life on the court.
They try so long to get respect for women's basketball, and then they treat it like a junior high school girl's locker room. Junior high school girl antics on the court. Instead of playing the game, they got to be drama because they're jealous. Instead of letting their skills speak for themselves, they got to be drama because they're jealous.
Almost overnight, Caitlin Clark became a target. Opponents saw the small paycheck, the silence in the league office, the total lack of protection, and they went after her. Game after game, she was hammered with hard hip checks, shoved midair, and blindsided by off-ball hits designed not to defend, but to punish. These weren't competitive plays. They were calculated attacks meant to test how much she could take before breaking. And what did the referees do? Nothing. They swallowed their whistles like the rules didn't apply. The WNBA's front office looked the other way, too. They had no problem cashing in on her name, selling out arenas, or splashing her face across every highlight reel. But when it came time to protect a player who was keeping their league alive, they disappeared. The message was loud and clear. Caitlin Clark could fill seats, but she was on her own.
Higher television ratings, higher attendance figures. Ladies and gentlemen, that doesn't come courtesy of a league. It comes courtesy of the players that play in the league. And in her case, she was the most popular, which means she could have helped your bottom line, which means you should have seen that from day one and maximized it. But you didn't do it.
The breaking point came with an ugly moment fans will never forget. Cameras appeared to catch Brittany Griner, making a questionable remark toward Caitlin Clark during a game. The clip exploded online. Lip readers dissected it, and outrage spread like wildfire. But the league's response? Silence. No review, no fine, no suspension, nothing. The message couldn't have been louder. Caitlin Clark was on her own, and that silence was dangerous. Because when refs won't protect, and the league won't hold anyone accountable, opponents feel untouchable. Every shove gets rougher. Every foul gets dirtier. Every hit lands harder. The WNBA had sent its biggest star into battle with no armor, and everyone knew it. There's only so much a body can take. You can survive low pay. You can stomach disrespect. But when every game turns into open season on your health, it's only a matter of time before something gives. For Caitlin Clark, that time came on September 5th, 2025. The headline hit like a thunderclap. Clark was ruled out for the season with a right groin injury. Media outlets called it unfortunate bad luck, a sad twist in an otherwise stellar year. But let's be honest, this wasn't chance. This wasn't bad fortune. It was a bill coming due. Months of league negligence had finally caught up. And with one injury, The WNBA didn't just lose its brightest star, it lost the very foundation of its revival.
And everybody talking about other WNBA players not being appreciated. Nobody insulted them. Nobody dismissed their contribution. We were simply saying, despite the contributions for years and years and years, a lot of people didn't care. Fair or not, until Caitlin Clark came along.
Think back to what Caitlin Clark endured through her first 2 seasons. The extra hard hip checks, the elbows that found ribs instead of ball, the mid-air shoves, the sneaky off-ball hits that left bruises no camera caught. Every game, the punishment built up. And every game, the referees turned away while league executives hid behind silence. Her body finally gave out. Not because she was soft, not because she couldn't handle grind, but because the very system meant to protect her never did. This wasn't bad luck. It was a predictable result of neglect. And when she fell, the WNBA didn't just lose its brightest star. It exposed itself as a league unable to safeguard the one person who had saved it from fading into obscurity. But that's where the story turns. While Clark rehabbed the damage the league allowed to happen, others were watching closely. Rival leagues, investors, billionaires. They saw the WNBA's golden goose battered and abandoned by the same organization that had plastered her face on every ticket and poster. Unlike the league, these outsiders understood her value. They weren't circling like vultures. They were visionaries. As soon as Clark went down, the real power players moved in. Not to pick over the wreckage, but to build something new, something that offered her what the WNBA never would: respect, protection, and pay worthy of her impact. Ironically, what looked like her lowest moment became the source of her greatest leverage. The WNBA believed they had her trapped, locked into a rookie deal that let them underpay and overuse her while she smiled for the cameras. But the injury changed everything. It didn't weaken her, it exposed them. Suddenly, the balance of power shifted, and doors that had been sealed for years swung wide open. The first came from a bold new challenger, Unrivaled, a 3-on-3 league founded by Breanna Stewart and Nafisa Collier, with Gino Arima deeply connected to its vision. Unlike the WNBA, Unrivaled didn't see Clark as an expense. They saw her as a foundation. Their offer stunned everyone. Over $1 million a year, plus something even rarer, an equity stake in the league itself. It wasn't just a salary. It was ownership, legacy, control. For the first time, Caitlin Clark wasn't being treated like just another rookie in a long line of draft picks. She was being invited to shape the future, not merely play inside it.